Right.
That's jamming.
I mean, you told me you're like what didn't you say, like music and dance?
Voice musical theater. Yeah, I did a singing and dancing. That was me.
We're gonna have to get like I don't know, an intro made that's just Pat dancing.
Well, I was thinking, is there any way to slide a couple, slides of me in there, seeing as how I'm taking all these calls now? Because as much as I enjoy watching Jason, I feel like it's false advertising.
Good point. I will bring it up to the media guy, Nate, and I'll say, hey, we gotta get more Pat in these intros and less Ackerman. Does he even work here anymore? Is he?
I haven't seen him yet. I haven't seen him yet. All I get is messages from him saying, "Hey, can you cover this?" Like that's all I know what he does.
What's up, Nick? How you doing, dude? Coaching feedback.
Hey,
today.
let's
That's
go,
right? Johnny A.
Johnny's back. He was there.
And then who we got over here?
Oh, I don't know. Who are Sam? Samwise Gamgee? Sam. I was supposed to make up where you were from, and so Sam is you know what? My brain went like straight dirty. I'm not gonna do what I was gonna say. I'm just gonna say what I do know about you. No, I'm not gonna let it fly. It went down some weird routes. Like I don't know what channel just happened there, and it was nothing about you, Sam. It was just where my head. It went like polyamorous necrophiliac, like went into this place where I was like, and was gonna do the whole thing, and I was like, no, that's not it.
That is not the call that I signed up to be on. That is not this call.
Oh, okay. So Sam, why don't you tell us where you're from? Because it sounds like you're not from Tennessee. What is this accent I'm hearing?
Deep Southern American accent. That's me. No, I'm based over in London in the UK. Started doing and then coaching CrossFit nearly a decade ago. Went through the motions, blah blah blah. Working at someone else's affiliate, doing the things. Did the level 2 just over 5 years ago. That was the big game changer. That was the one where it was like, okay, hang on, there's more to this than just reading the book and doing the thing on the floor. And that pursuit of excellence, of virtuosity, I guess, made me realize that there was only one way that I was going to drive the income from CrossFit that I wanted to drive, and that was to open my own affiliate. Like working for someone else, they weren't professionalizing it fast enough. So took the leap, and then mid-pandemic opened my own affiliate, and then we started chasing.
Best time.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, so here's my logic mid-pandemic. Everyone in lockdown over here either got into cake and dessert or exercising from home as hard as they could. And we came out of the pandemic and it was like, I've eaten too much cake and done too much baking. I now need to find a solution to my cake dessert problem, or I've just got massively into running and push-ups at home. Is there a better version of this I can do? And we threw open our doors summer of 2020, and I hit the ground running really hard, awesome. Which was super cool. Went from me to a team of 4 in the space of about 5 months, and then brought on a couple more since. The gym's existed for nearly 3 years. It'll be 3 years in a couple of months. And we kind of realized that actually, if we're going to do this CrossFit thing, we're going to do it as well as we possibly can. So now as an affiliate, we've got 2 level 3 coaches and 3 level 2 coaches, and actually just pursuing the best version of this possible. Level 4 dates got released over in the UK a month ago, and popped up on my Instagram feed. And I'd kind of chatted to my gym manager, Rob, and said, look, in about a year's time after my level 3, I think I want to go to this level 4 thing. But obviously it was on ice, right? There were no dates available. Nothing existed end of last year. Then saw it popped out over where you guys are in the States, and was like, okay, this thing's happening. And then it appeared in London, limited dates, limited availability. Went back and forth with Rob, who basically talked me into it and said, well, if you don't do it, then we're never going to know, right? So let's have a crack at this thing. Went to book and it was full, couldn't. So emailed HQ, and 4 hours later I was on a level 4 assessment for the 15th of June. And that turned my prep time from what I imagined to be about 6 months to 4 weeks, and then double down, like bought myself a proper notepad and everything, planned all my lessons in the same place, take all my feedback in the same place, As far as I can work out, the next week of my life, because that's how long I've got before the assessment, exactly today. And the 3 weeks before this is trying to deliver every single class as close as I can to level 4 assessment day, evaluation day quality, and getting the feedback from as many good sources as I possibly can. So I've now traveled around. I think I've done 8 different gyms in the UK, coached classes of people I don't know, got feedback from people who I don't know, coached in my own gym, got feedback from my team. So I had a bunch of coaches just sit and watch me and tear me apart. The highlight being one of my newest member of staff. I coached this whole class, and in 60 minutes, she turns around to me then and goes, "You missed hip extension on this person. You corrected a push-up position. It wasn't better when you said it was good. And that person only got 4 Qs across the hour, insufficient." I was like, "Wow, you're new, girl. Can you just calm down?" She was brutal.
That's so. I mean, so she needs to work on her delivery of feedback, but that's amazing. Like, that's incredible. Holy crap! I like your stories, like firing me up right now. Like, I'm excited. So it looks like you've pursued headlong the things that you need to do in order to do well in this level 4. Now, if I had to ask you to summarize what you think is necessary for you come this level 4, like, what is the thing that you're looking to do? Like, you step on that floor, it's your opportunity to coach, do the thing. What are you doing?
So there's a few answers to this question. Something that I'm very confident is going to happen, unless having Nicole Christensen like stare at the back of my head terrifies me. I will make a relationship with those people. It's a thing that comes really naturally to me. The first time I stepped on someone else's gym floor, it took me all of 5 minutes to go, yeah, okay, fine. I've got buy-in from these people. Like, they don't think I'm a total lunatic. So turn up, do the thing, build the relationships, make people better, have a good time. And I think that bit is going to take care of itself. The presence and attitude bit, the group management thing, I think is something that comes quite naturally to me. There are 2 things that I think I need to be really on top of to make happen really well. Well, maybe 3 now, actually, having done some more feedback stuff and like looking at my own videos. One is I need to make sure I spot all the faults. Like, I can work that room quite hard, and I expect myself to catch damn near everything. Like, fine, if there's a little bit of hip extension missing on something's running, it's not gross, fine, whatever. Anything that I do correct, I need to make sure I check the rep, and I'm cool. Pretty good at it, but I've got to make sure that happens. And then the third thing is just layering in those points of performance. I am a good talker. I can hold a room, and if I don't check myself, I will just wander down a path and share all the information really quickly. And actually 3 words is probably enough. In fact, one of my first ever coaching development pieces, back when I was a level 1 trainer, like my first year of coaching, I was challenged to coach all of the movements in that class, and I was only allowed 3 words per movement. That was like the antithesis to my, yeah, you like to waffle, Sam. You've been given 3 words for this movement. Go.
Yeah. How'd that go?
I mean, I was terrible the first time I did it, obviously. Like, the one thing I could rely on was my words, and then someone took them away from me. I think I stepped out and went, right, the deadlift. So we're, oh, bugger. That's 3 words. Like, stop, think.
Well, you seem to be a compelling storyteller, so that can make its way into your style, but it should never be at the expense of movement, right? There's a way to weave those 2 things together, and it sounds like you're acutely aware of how you impact a room, so that's good. We'll just see whether or not that's too much, right? And like you said, it seems like you have the right mentality going into it of like, your job is to service the people who are in front of you. It's not about you, it's about them. So when you show up there, it's like, how can I service these people? Make them have not only a spectacular time, good flow, good management, good presence and attitude, all that stuff, but also correct their movement, which you say that you're going to be working on. Now, with regards to that, there is the balance of watching somebody and catching what's going on. But I think I'd be hard pressed to find a person who is going to be evaluating these, who's going to see someone watch the movement, offer a correction, and be like, maybe, hey, that wasn't the right correction. I think as long as you're there with the people and you're trying and you are seeing change in the thing that you are seeing, from my understanding of how this all goes, you should be good. Obviously, try to do the bigger gross faults and things like that and get in dynamic and blah, blah, blah. But we'll watch how this class goes as we move through it. I'll be looking, pretty precisely for if you're rambling on for no reason, because you've already told me that you kind of like to talk, but let's see what's going on. You ready to jump in?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Have you watched this class?
I don't want
I've watched bits of
Right,
this
team,
class.
7:15, come on.
I've watched bits of this class, and I've watched other classes.
Okay. And when you say you've watched bits of this class, is there anything that jumped out to you as you were watching it?
My overhead squat teaching, I'm not delighted with my layering in of that information, but I'd be interested to see what you guys think. Like, am I my own worst critic? Am I? Who knows? Cricket. Am I my own worst critic, or is this actually something I need to tighten up harder going into next week?
All right, we'll watch it.
But this was filmed like nearly 2 weeks ago, so I might have changed some things since then because constant pursuit of excellence, right?
It's a fun, never-ending journey, if you ask me. All right, let's watch this. Cody, do I have power to play?
Look at
that.
Are you all staring at the camera now? He's filming us.
Nice.
I'm uncomfortable. You better move beautifully now, right? Come a little bit closer. You're still too far away. It's creeping me out. Don't like it. Go on, dive in. Here we go. Beautiful. Things. Number one, yes, I'm recording everything that happens, but it's because I need to watch what I'm doing because, yeah, you can just keep waving to that, Laura. That's great. Level 4 preps, and people are going to watch it for me and tell me all the things that I did that were bad that I need to fix. So that's exciting for you.
We can also be positive and tell you what you did great.
No, it's going to America, though. I'm going to send it on the internet. And there's a website, I think they sent me that I've uploaded to, Pornhub or something, I don't know. Thing two,
all right, so
niggles, things
you're serious in your ability to banter with a group. It's awesome. And it looks like you're also paying attention to the people that you have. Sometimes banter can be for your sake and not for their sake. I know people who think they're awesome in front of a group, but it's because they're trying to put on a show and they do it because they're self-stroking. And it doesn't look like you're doing that so far. It looks like you're doing it to engage them. So fantastic on that. Good job. But we'll just watch to see if there's any self-flagellating.
There's a line to walk there, right?
There is, of course, a line to walk there. And I think that you have to be entertaining and love what you're doing, but it's not just to be entertaining. It's to be effective. And by being compassionate the way you are, or by being funny, that's your medium. I'm the same way as you. All the stuff you're saying is likely the same shit I'd be saying too. And so we just have to always watch to see if maybe our Pornhub line makes Jim in the corner really unhappy because he was on Pornhub 4 times and he was really bummed about it. We just have to constantly be seeing if we take it too far, just because of the nature of humanity these days. But I'm
not sure what that is. Can you explain what that is?
It's like YouTube for just CrossFit videos. You should go and check it out.
Share your screen and look it up right now. We'll see, and then look at most recommended.
Fall off. Do start waving at me at some point between now or the end of the warm-up so we can catch up and I can adjust accordingly.
Matt asked if I was talking about Ackerman. I don't know, Matt. I haven't seen Ackerman coach recently. I'm hoping not.
50 overhead squats, 50 alternating dumbbell snatches. There's a 15-minute window on it that I hope we're not going to use, right? We're going to have as a little bit of a safety blanket, little 5-minute sections here, so you're going to get done inside of 15 minutes. If you're not done here after 5, I'm going to move you on. If you're not done with these overhead squats after 10, we're going to move you on, right? Things that we need to be aware of, right? We'll pick a distance on the row we can get done in that 5 minutes. Weight on this overhead squat option is going to be light enough that you can tear into a pretty decent set, right? I want you to shoot for sets of more than 10 in the workout.
Good stimulus.
If you really had to, we could probably do 20 unbroken reps with that weight and then have a nap afterwards and go home, right? That's kind of where we're going to pitch this barbell.
Nice. Good range that you're giving them rather than being like, it needs to be 60%. It's
like, do you want to stand there
good range there.
Until you have to stop, right? Because in theory, could be unbroken if you really want to. It'd be a terrible time, but we could do it. All right? Yeah, really bad, right? So this is
leading them down the path
at the end of the workout. All making sense so far. Beautiful. To get warm, find a little bit of space.
Cool. Nice and fast through there. And just like any good brief, you don't need to dig in super hard. It's more just like making sure that they feel a sense of comfort. You're going to have to review this shit anyway.
Get back up again. Go as many times as you possibly can in the next 20 seconds. Ready? Steady. Go. Panic. Emma, if that needs to be a not belly on the floor option, you've nailed it. 10 points to you.
So you paid attention to the person who you knew had
lost
some
the music
pre-existing
control.
thing going on, and you're letting them
Disaster.
know,
Go
good
more
job,
speed, you've only
not
got
going
10
all the way
seconds
down.
left.
I'm assuming that's what the case was, right?
Yeah, she's pregnant.
Go faster, go faster, go faster. 2,
That
1,
vicious
and rest.
injury of pregnancy.
Beautiful. Next step,
Yeah,
team. I'm going to
terrible.
stick my feet where I squat, somewhere underneath my shoulders. Get my heels
That's
on the floor,
sarcasm
big
for anyone
chest.
listening.
Bum's
It's
going
not
to
an
sit
injury.
down below my knees at the bottom, keeping that solid spine as we go. LA, Bum, faster.
Cool.
Go on, speed, Laura, speed, Laura. There we go. Go faster. Go on.
So in a piece like this, I know we're just in the warm up and they're just kind of jumping right into it. It was a little quick to go from 0 to 1,000. Like, hey, we're going to jump into 20 of the fastest burpees you ever done. I might just in a session have a slower ramp up to speed. Like, I'm assuming you're going to go through a couple rounds of these, eh?
Yeah.
So I would say, hey, this first round, we're just gonna be moving through it. In the second round, we're gonna pick it up. In the third round, we're gonna really turn it on, like whatever it is. Just because, us young whippersnappers, I know you're probably 19, and I'm like 22, so we can just jump into
already?
it. Yeah, I've just turned 22. It was rough, man. But there's a demographic of people that if they jump into something this fast, it's going to snap city. So I think having a little bit of a slower ramp in would be advised. So just if you're setting up a warm up for your L4, have like a little bit of a slower ramp up, not dead slow, but something where it's like speeds can be modulated a bit. The other thing too is anytime we're in a warm up, it is an opportunity to maybe check on certain points of performance. You don't do as much coaching in a warm-up, but you do want to make sure that basic things are hit. So this is your opportunity. You jumped right on her and we're like, speed, which is what you wanted, which is fine. But make sure you're just glancing at the group and making sure that everyone's in the right stance. And, they're hitting basic other pieces like knees caving or whatever it might be. Stance is the main one that I'd go over first, but you seem to have a good moving group here. So whatever culture you've created means that these people know how to squat. So that's fucking great. But just make sure you use this opportunity to just kind of like glance around a bit.
Go on. Get your arms out straight. There we go. Here we go. Now we're cooking. Rest and relax. Next up, team, we're going to go to the top of a press up. I'm going to chuck my knees forward between my arms. Going to hit that mountain climber thing. Ready? Steady. Go. Oh, just bringing it back from lockdown, I missed it so much. I just need to stream it live on Zoom.
Yeah, so like this, for instance, is a movement that it doesn't matter how they move for the most
Last
part.
5 seconds, go
so it's
faster,
one you could be
faster,
like,
go, Mike,
whatever,
speed it up,
turn it on, go fast,
and
whatever.
rest.
But a squat
go
would
back
be
to
like,
that
let's make
squat
sure they're not
stance.
doing something
This time
stupid.
we're going to step down and back into a lunge, vertical front shin. Keep that front foot planted on the floor. Ready, set, go. We want to keep that nice wide stance here, team. If we go narrow, we get wobbly, Mike. Keep it wide.
Good.
He's
So that was good. So that was what I was looking for is like, if you're going to mention something like, you got a straight vertical shin, you got a blah, 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 then your eyes are immediately going to go to, do they have a straight vertical shin? Are they doing the things that I just asked them? And like throughout as this gross overarching comment, can I then look around the group and find somebody who's like maybe doing that or not doing it? Because you're saying the right things, but we just got to make sure that that plays out with the people who are in front of you. And it looks like you caught the guy who is, lunging a little too narrow. So you grabbed him and you say the name here. So the more individualized touches you can have like that, I think the more it'll continue to refine your eye and that exact thing that you were talking about. Make sure I'm looking for the things that I'm saying. So you can even use your own words as the guide for that because you clearly understand the movements. So you say the right thing to be paying attention to, just then look for that right afterwards.
Dave, oh, there's 2 mics. Oh, it's all over today, isn't it?
It's one of my favorites.
Lovely, and rest. We're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to get on off the floor as many times as we possibly can in 20 seconds. Ready? In 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Yeah, so this one, they could have gone, hey, now we're going a little faster. Try to get a little, like 2 more than you did last time or something like that. So it's more of a ramp up rather than a, You're cold.
Nice and tall at the
Because
top,
UK
Mike.
is always cold, right?
Good man.
You guys, it doesn't matter. It's like midsummer and it's like icicles.
Last 3, 2, 1, and rest.
I know it looks like a
We're
t-shirt,
gonna
but it's actually a
squat
coat.
to make sure that
Yeah.
chest stays as tall as we can the whole time, right? We want our knees to follow our toes, so shove them out wide. Ready, set.
So you just told them chest up and knees out. Great.
Mhm.
So you should now be looking for chest up, knees out as you pan the group. So we'll make sure that
Go.
happens.
Yeah, I know, right? You can blame Tim for this. Push your bum back a little bit more. I've brutalized a warm-up he used last Tuesday.
So the guy you were just looking at, check his knees.
Yeah,
You see him?
yeah,
Just stored
definitely
it in
in.
my brain, didn't I?
And I got sucked in on his heels because
And rest.
probably because his knees are caving in, he's peeling off the outside of the back of his heel, and I've shifted around the side to see it better. But that's not the thing I just said, right?
It isn't. But, you gave him something, which is cool. But if you're looking for congruency across that, like, hey, I just told you this, I'm going to look for this, So then that way for you in your own head, what did I just say? Now I got to go do. And then if something else pops out that's not one of those, but they've checked the 2 boxes otherwise, then you can get into it. It's also kind of a hard, the setup that you have. You're just kind of jumping right into it. There's no teaching of it. It was just like, hey, we're jumping right in. So you are kind of moving on the fly, which is okay, but it leaves you open for many things going wrong, which is okay, but it's just something to note as you move through.
I guess the question is, can you tighten it up again before, like, as you get into the teaching piece? Like, how good are you? Can you throw yourself under the bus a little bit here, getting them super warm, doing something that is a little bit dynamic, and then still pull it back together again as you get into the teach? And like that's the test I've given myself now.
Yeah, and so like a method that you could have done beforehand would be like, all right, guys, we're gonna warm it up. The first thing I want us to do is just step 1 foot back, step the other foot back. Good. Put your hands on the ground. All right, lie all the way down. Nice. All right, get back on up. Give me a little hop. All right, we're gonna do some burpees. Let's do like 5 burpees real quick, and so you walked them through the burpee and then be like, all right, now we're just gonna do a couple squats and then adjust some stances and some grips and like do a couple squats and then just do one of each one of these just with the whole group. You don't have to do it this way, but and then so you have a little bit of a slower pacing and be like, now we're gonna cycle through these exercises a little quicker. So that way you're not teaching while they're slamming through. Again, it's another way of doing it, but it sets you up for an easier flow at times, as long as you can manage the transitions.
We're going to go back to those mountain climbers.
What
We're
up,
going to go
Eaton
even
Beaver?
faster with those feet this time.
I'm going to say
Top
that
of a
faster
press
next
up.
time.
Going to drive a knee between your arms. Ready, steady, go.
You guys have a dirty
More speed,
chat
more
here.
speed. Go faster, Jake. Go faster, Jake. Yes, Matt. Go on. Go on, Matt.
Yeah, they
Jake, Max, go
they
faster.
overflow
Jake.
from the Sevon
no, okay, now we're
podcast.
cooking.
Oh, that's
Last 10
we
seconds,
get them.
Matt.
Gotcha.
Keep going. Go faster. Go
Someone
on.
preps them and tosses them over here.
2,
I'm still waiting for my
1,
invites
and
to Savon.
rest. And we're going to finish with that lunge shape, except this time.
Also,
we're gonna
I
jump
think
and swap our legs
whenever
over.
they change their name, I think they're
Everyone
like
loves a
stuck
little
with
bit of
it
leg burn at
for
7:20 in the
like a
morning.
week
Ready,
or
set, go.
3 weeks or 90 days or something like that. So he changed his name to be funny, and now he's stuck with
Now
Eaton
he's stuck
Beaver.
as Eaton Beaver. Nice. Nice.
You can still tap that knee super gently on the ground. You can still tap your back knee super gently on the ground. There it is. And
Yeah,
rest.
just like you're
Beautiful.
doing, just keep
All right,
like
team, from here.
it doesn't need to be world breaking or groundbreaking, whatever you're saying to people, but just like you're doing. You're looking around, you see something, you say something, airport style, like, oh, loving the shoes that you got on today, Jim. Oh, let that knee kiss the background, the ground there, Phyllis. Good job, like just like you're doing. So just keeping that little bit of flow is great.
We're going to grab ourselves a plate. I'm going to get you to sit in a squat and press it over your head as much as you can. So let's keep things down to that 5-10 range, right? No one needs a 20 in their hands to drive it over their head. That feels like a really aggressive idea.
Great specific direction. And even with a little bit of cue in there too of humor in there of like, don't do this, like you're giving them pretty strict parameters. And I love that.
Well, otherwise you end up with the room wandering around with a set of plates that are either too heavy or too light for what you're about to do, right? So just trying to keep the room where I need them.
But you'd be surprised at how few people
team,
give
things are
direction
going to
that
happen,
clear.
right? I'm going to stick my feet where I squat. We're going to sit down into this squat, and when I'm down here, I want to check that my knees are going in line with my toes. I don't want to be caving in here, so we're going to push out super wide. Join me. Be in this shape down here. Push your knees out wide enough they're following your toes. If you were to draw a line out from your second toe, would your knee be following that line? If not, push your knees wider. From here, we're going to press that plate up as hard as we can overhead. Keep looking up. Keep pushing your knees out.
Yeah, so again, you have a pattern of like you say all the right things. Just make sure then your brain goes straight to like, okay, I just told them all this shit about their knees. Let me just scan the group and absolutely make sure that things I just told them are happening. And that's what it looks like you're doing right now.
And press up. Look up, Sam. Push your knees wider.
There you go.
And
see?
Down.
Got him. Take that.
And up. Solid, Matt. Find some heels, so just sit back into it. Good. Down.
Nice.
Up. And down. Bigger chest, Dan. Well found. Up. Find some heels, Laura. Push your knees a little bit wider. I want to sit back into that shoe a little bit more. There you go. Yeah, down. And take a break, team. Hop the plate on the floor. Stand yourselves up. We're going to pair this up with that plate ground to overhead. So my thumbs are going to point to the floor. I'm going to keep a really solid back position. We're going to hinge and let our knees bend. So we're at the bottom here. Pop our legs straight and then drive that plate overhead, right? Thinking about keeping my spine super rigid as I take that plate to the floor. I don't want to go folding myself in half, soft and round at the bottom. 10 of those, team. It's not heavy. Let's play with the shapes rather than the speed. Give me some knee bend on you to get to the floor. Better, well found.
So one thing that I've seen right there, and we've seen in a couple other videos too, is leaving them hanging on the negative. Right? Here's what I want you to do. Here's what I don't want you to do. Now go back and do the thing that I told you I wanted you to do a minute ago. Right? A lot of people are super visual, and whenever I've been like training some new coaches before, I say pretend like everyone in your class is deaf, and if they could only see what you were demonstrating, and the last thing you showed them was the negative, what are the chances are if someone's not paying attention or they didn't catch it, they're just going to go by what they see.
Yeah. Not the first person to say that.
Beautiful shapes, Emma. Stay solid through here. Good man, well fixed. This is soft, tighten it up. Still soft. Bend your knees some more to get down. Better, even more knee bend.
How many of these are they doing? They're just going down?
10.
We'll get to the bottom of that squat. Grab hold of your plate. We're going back to where we started. Indeed.
Logic was a little bit of prep for that dumbbell snatch later on. Like, can I deal with that basic hinge and overhead shape before we start getting panicky about going quickly?
Solid.
Yeah, it's great.
A little bit wider. Good. Down.
One thing I might do is like, and it's not
glued to the floor.
Again, everything you're doing here is fine. It looks good. It like these people are moving good. You're moving around the room well. You're commanding the group well. They all know what they're doing. They've got the right plates. One thing you could have done is instead of just demoing everything with them and being like, this is the whole movement. This is what I'm really focusing on. This is blah, blah, blah. Just basically say, hey, grab the plate. Everybody get to a good deadlift position. Okay. And walk. And then they're all static in that deadlift setup. And then you could just cruise and be like flat back, flat back, flat back. You just adjust the setup again. Kind of same way. Everybody gets your squat stance. Okay. Let me adjust some stances. All right. Now we're going to do 20 squats. So that way, because you have a tendency to just be like jump into 10 reps and then you're going to walk around and adjust. So if you just set up each movement with like, show me your stance for this and get to that setup position. And then you have the opportunity while they're not moving to focus on the whole group real quick. And then you can even say, adjust your backs nice and flat. And then you can look around real quick and be like, okay, cool. Now we're going to go up and overhead, maintaining that same thing. It looks like this. Now go. So that way you get that one opportunity.
Yeah.
While they're all static.
Taking that teaching style almost and using it in the warm up. Like it feels like drilling into this. I have a habit in the warm up of let's get moving. And then I'll do the teaching when it's designated teaching time on my plan. And actually there might be space here to blur the line a little bit between what is a teach and what is a warm up. And can I in fact use both?
For sure. And it's just, and it's quick. Like, we don't need to really drill it home, but it's quick. It's just a little bit of like a single rep, get to your setup for this. It looks like this, cruise the room. All right. Now you move straight into everything else that you were just doing, but it just allows you to make those little adjustments a little bit quicker. Matt Barnes said that's a tough overhead position. That is a tough overhead position. That is a suit. Like, the fact that I've never seen starting at the bottom and going into it. I've always seen people set up at the top and then they extend as they go down and bring it up. But these guys all seem like they've done it before. But it doesn't look like you're harping too hard on what it needs to look like overhead. It's more of just like a counterbalance, get them warm, do that thing. So I'm for it.
I also don't like these people, so make them suffer.
That's really good. I think the main thing that we want to do is hate our clients.
Yes,
it's
crucial.
the best way to build community and a lifelong member is to hate the people who walk through the door. Good call.
Love that knee position. Down. Drive your knees out again, on your feet are so wide. There you go. Press. Keep them out there. Good job. Down. And press. We're going to push those knees out, then hard. Yeah, well found. Down. Same for you, might keep your knees wide. Press. And relax. Beautiful. 5 more of those plate ground to overhead. Ready, set, go. 5.
I love how you don't give them time. Like, honestly. Like,
Zero time.
In a warm up, like, it's fucking great. Like, it's like this doesn't need time. The goal is to warm them up. If they're adults, if they truly need time, they'll take time. This is what you're supposed to do. It's no dead time in there, as long as you're able to set them up correctly and not have them break themselves.
This rower just here. Be somewhere
they're doing great.
Side on of this rower. Sam, can you go right in front of me for me with that plate? You can do a plate ground to overhead.
This is actually a good point here.
Can you find that?
We have an all Spanish speaker that joined our gym. And although I have some Spanish, it has really made me up my game. For sure, right? Like, you have to be really deliberate with what, the visual you're providing someone like that.
Yeah, you just speak louder and slower, right?
I was listening to your Q&A with Stedman, and he said, someone asked about coaching in a foreign country, and he said, yeah, do it, because you will learn to demo really effectively because you can't fall back on your words. I think it's such a valuable point. Like, don't talk, see what happens.
Yeah.
Carl and Pat both said the same thing too about coaching in Finland, and that it's just totally different, right? Like the monotone, like it's just a different reaction. So
you get nothing. Yes, I get energy. Pool. Thanks, eating beaver. Look at that.
Look at that.
Hey, how do I hit play? There we go.
Looks awfully similar to this shape, right? In slow motion then, Sam. So he's going to
go, Cody.
Push his legs straight, so he starts to bring that plate off the floor. Then he opens his hips. Then he moves his arms. It's the same as rowing, right? On the way down, arms move first. He closes his hip. Then he lets his knees bend. I'm doing the same thing, right? Legs go first.
Cool little teaching point.
And I move my arms and relax, right? We're looking for the same shapes you found in that plate ground to overhead for the rowing on here, right? In your pairs, we're going to hit 30 seconds of rowing, chasing the same shapes that you use on that plate ground to overhead. While your friend is doing 30 seconds of rowing, you're going to grab a dumbbell out that you can throw over your head a bunch of times. Doesn't need to be workout weight at this point, just needs to be a dumbbell. Partner 1 on a rower. They've got a timer built into the screens. Shock horror. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need an extra rower.
Is the UK having like a heat wave or something? What's going on right now?
Yeah, last week and a half, 2 weeks, we've had some really pleasantly warm weather. It's been delightful.
It's been like 60.
Lovely.
Fahrenheit. Yeah, no idea what that means. It was 24 Celsius today. There you go. There's another number.
Partner 2.
There you go. That's actually warm.
Dumbbell you can throw over your head a bunch of times. Once your partner finishes their 30 seconds, we will swap. Nothing for now, you're all good. Or get a dumbbell. Yeah, kettlebell, I like it. Just gonna go swing.
See,
seconds, there are enough rows. Matt,
that to me, oh hang on, I might have fixed it here. Like, for me, I've just watched myself not fix rowing. No, there we go, I'm doing the thing, just later than I wanted to.
Way better, that was amazing. Once you hit that 30 seconds, dive out the way. Get your super best friend in.
Way to correct yourself. Good job.
Person
And
who's
then
just
way to
started
actually
throwing,
listen to
you need
yourself
grab yourselves
in
a
the moment
dumbbell
and make
that you
it
can
work.
throw over your head a bunch of times. You want to push with your legs before you open your hip and start leaning back. Your lean is too early. So legs first, better, even more. I want your shoulder to stay in front of your hip before you lean back, I want your shoulder to stay in front of your hip. And
So how are these guys going to town on these dumbbell snatches? How did they end up?
I have given them no instruction to snatch. I just wanted them to collect a dumbbell. This happened literally behind my back. I didn't know they were throwing dumbbells over their head. People just keen to do the thing.
I guess so. So maybe a little bit there with just like correction around or setup around like, okay, I'm gonna be a little bit more clear with what I want them to do with this dumbbell. And a thing that people will do if you just give them empty space is they'll just do something. They'll fill it with whatever. In this case, it's dumbbell snatches. So what would be another thing we could do is like, hey, grab your dumbbell, bring it over, and then we're going to kick out to a pigeon pose while your partner's rowing or whatever it is. Just give them an action they can take that makes it so they're not staring and being like, I don't know what to do right now. So if there's something that they could fill that space with, then they won't go off doing weird shit like they are right now.
I mean, it's not that weird. They do need to snatch. At least they've picked something relevant,
there
right?
you go.
I mean, it's wonderful
Well,
that they've gone this route, but you're going to turn around and find a whole class of people snatching and be like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like,
nice.
That's literally what just happened. I've turned around and gone, oh.
Yeah.
It's a strange anomaly inside of a CrossFit gym, right? Like not inside of a CrossFit gym, but just in the world in general. As most people are just lazy, and CrossFitters are just like, let's just fill this void time with anything that I can think about doing.
I will exercise.
Yeah, it's like the first time we make them do a real heavy day, and they're like, "So what? You want me to sit down? I'm not gonna sit down. I'm not gonna sit down in between my lifts. Like I'm supposed to be doing stuff, you know?" And they're like, "No, just sit down. Sit down." Yeah. So just make sure you're like, I would say like you haven't taught these guys the snatch yet, right? So like if this wasn't a really experienced class, you'd have that one person being like, "What the hell? These guys are just going for it and like going off snatching." So especially something as complex as a snatch. Make sure that's taught before they go into it, but they did it on their own, apparently. And they're that good.
For dumbbell snatches,
you must have
started. No instruction, just grab dumbbells and started doing it, didn't you?
I love it.
You're all stood there like, how many of these are we doing? What's happening? No one said anything. Was this you?
Is this you?
Someone started dumbbell snatching and everyone else felt peer pressured into continuing. All right, team.
I love how you pointed it out.
Let's talk dumbbell snatching.
It's fine. Again, the fact they went off and did it, great, whatever. And none of them were moving like horse crap, so it was cool. You know, you built a good culture and community. But you could have been clearer, so that didn't happen.
Looking for in that plate ground to overhead, right? We're going to start with 5 deadlifts. I want everything between here and here to stay one solid object. I want minimal spine moving because I want to get the force from my legs into the dumbbell, right? Going to fix this nice and solid. Let my knees bend. We're just going to stand that dumbbell up right between our feet. Not looking for this shape, looking for that shape. Ready? Let's go 5 on each arm, team. Grab your dumbbell, hit those 5 reps. Same on the kettlebell down.
Yeah, so I guess your patterning is built around we're going to do 5 of these. This is what it looks like. Don't do this, and go. And then you say, okay, now do those 5 reps. If I were to challenge you, I would have your patterning center a bit more around, we're going to do a couple deadlifts, get the bell between your legs, get out to your deadlifting stance, get your chest up. Now go to the ground. When I tell you to stand. All right, adjust. When I go down, okay, blah, blah, blah. Just like get 1 or 2 reps where you're doing it. Like you're making them move. Yep. They're moving on your command. And then say, okay, now do 5 more. The difference being you get that little bit of time where nobody's moving to look at positions. Because right now you're setting yourself up to always have people moving and you just hoping that you can jump in those and catch those positions, you know?
Yep. And I'll do it later on the overhead squat.
So I see what's happened here. When I said grab a dumbbell, you just...
So you'll get into the dumbbell snatch or the overhead squat and make them do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I overhead squat later in this class, I will hold them all in overhead position. I'll fix some stuff. We'll sit in the bottom of a squat. I'll do some stuff, and I'll call everything. But for some reason,
yeah, there you go. Your bum's higher than your hip. That's where we need to be. Beautiful.
Like right now, like let's just go back a little bit. Let's watch this girl in green do her deadlifts right here real quick.
green leggings, black top.
Green leggings, black top, closest to the camera right now.
You just stole one off the floor and started throwing it over your own head.
It's just
good.
Lazy, you know, like is she, because there was no time where you were like, all right, everybody get to a better setup and go there. And she might've done that anyway, but like, it's just, you didn't have the opportunity to see that because everybody's moving. You got to find the guy who's moving. Anytime it's a movement, that's one of our foundational ones. It's an opportunity for you to just 1 or 2 reps, see what positions they're in. Then it just reinforces those habits in a positive way rather than letting her get away with a bunch of sloppy ones and then maybe do that come workout time. And that's just easier to see when they're static.
Yeah. We're going loose through here. So more knee bend. More knee bend.
Man, it's like she's almost intentionally caving that upper thoracic.
That's where we need to be. Beautiful.
So one of those classic situations where the girl you've picked out, definitely one of the more capable people you're going to get in the room. Like this dumbbell deadlift, I don't need it. Like this is beneath me. It's not, and I can get on top of her and make it better. But I didn't give myself the opportunity to get on top of her. So she's used it as a like, yeah, fine, Sam, I'll do the deadlifts. Like, it'll get me a little bit warm up, whatever. But I could 100% pull her in.
I finished that deadlift. Big butt squeeze. Only once that's happened do I then let my arms move. Same as the plate ground to overhead, right? So I hit my deadlift portion, bang. Once I'm here, then my arm goes, right? We don't want that arm to go early. Back to the floor. We'll swap hands now. Same thing. Legs, then arm throws that dumbbell overhead. Let's have a go at 10 of those, team. Swapping hands on the floor.
So honestly, even here is a time where I would say this is the type of dynamic movement where you could say, okay, now do 5. You know, if you had set up the positioning ahead of time, just the front end, like setup position, even just in the deadlift, this one would be like, you could show them it and then be like, okay, now we're going to jump into that. I wouldn't need you to be like, let's do them on my count necessarily here because it's dynamic in nature and you're going to need to kind of move around and watch as they go there. And it's a warm up. So you didn't really need to dig into that. This is that balance between, I wouldn't have had them do it on your count. You would have just been like, okay, now we're going to go all the way up overhead. Here we go. But they would all be in a good setup, you know?
One of these 2 things needs to be on my count. And ideally the first one, right? Because you get the first one slower, you can fix it, you can dial it in, you've then set the foundation and they can play with it from there, right? But what I've done is given myself more work to do, chasing around.
Exactly. And much harder to see, you know, because, and then they're midway through moving and you're trying to make an adjustment, like drop. He's like, on this one or the one before it? You know, like it's kind of all over.
All of them.
Yeah.
Legs, then arms.
You want to jump ahead? Let's jump ahead. What's after this?
Sure. Hey, a silly number.
Barbells.
Laura. Okay. Oh, I've ended up PVC-less, haven't I?
Are we looking at the entire facility right here for the most part?
For the most part, you can see like probably 2/3 of the gym floor, if not a little bit more there.
Okay.
It's 2,000 square feet.
Beautiful. For most of us, this overhead squat is going to be in snatch grip, right? If you're one of those super bendy people that likes to overhead squat narrower, be my guest, right? For the rest of us, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is still you. We're going to stick that barbell at a point, or this PVC, where I can march my legs up and down. You can do this with me. You can then just slide your hands out wide enough. Hey, presto, that bar's sitting in your hip crease, right? From there, little bend, pop it up and overhead. When we're up and overhead, right, I want to get my armpits to point forwards, right?
Okay, so with that cue, it's not a bad place to get people to get into this position, you know, knee up, find the hip position, go overhead. Just then make sure just one time, safety-wise, that they can do a shoulder pass-through. Because there's people who will find that position, then go to do a shoulder pass-through, and they cannot. So they're like, which is inherently a too narrow position for that individual, especially for the overhead squat. Because if they are in the bottom and need to bail, what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to dislocate both their shoulders, or they're going to drop it on their head. So use that as like a setup. Hey, knee up, widen your grip out, get to here, pop it up overhead. Now in that position, let's make sure we can just do a pass through. If you can't, widen your grip up. It's just one extra step that then hammers home that safety component of being able to do the pass through. It's the same sort of deal in the, like, people will do the one where they do a, jump your feet up and down a couple times, or wipe your feet like you're on a doormat. That's your jumping stance. It's like, it could be, but you also have to look at their feet and be like, is that actually their jumping stance, and make the adjustment. So this is not a bad way to get the grip position. It's a great way to, especially for the turnover and the snatch, to have the good length and speed and all that stuff. But some people won't have the shoulder mobility. Like, look at Gigantor here. He looks like he's got some oddly flexible shoulders, but this guy that's a pretty narrow grip. And I wonder if he could go all the way back over with that. And that would be a necessity for this movement. So we'll just keep watching.
This is armpits down. This is armpits forward. Once we've got this shape, we're going to search for this overhead squat.
He's feeling his armpit.
Things are happening, right? I'm going to keep those armpits forward, keep pushing up on that bar.
Look at his face.
He's like, actually got the same squat shape we used in that plate squat earlier.
What the
Ready?
fuck?
Bar goes overhead. Give me more armpit, Bonnie. Sam, push up a little bit more. Matt, bring the bar over your head.
What's the dude doing a front squat right now?
Tia, push up.
Yeah.
Harder.
We spoke in advance.
Beautiful. Keep
Okay.
super straight. And we're going to squat and pause. Ready? Squat. Give me more armpit on you.
I mean, that guy's oddly flexible, and I still think he's too narrow. Like, I don't think he could roll behind him on this one.
I want that. There you go. Stand. Jake, push your arm straight. Squat. Yeah, much better on you. Laura,
He's able to hold it over his foot.
Stand.
But
Squat.
that's a big dude in a narrow position.
Straight, push your knees wide.
He moves pretty well, to be fair to him.
Stand.
He does, yeah.
Hard on the bar. Squat.
I love seeing the amount of people who you can tell just don't like being in this position.
Stand. Good job.
It's like, man,
Bring your
if
hands
you
over closer, Matt.
took a course with
Squat.
Coach B, you'd
Knees
just
up
be
wider.
punished with this PVC pipe.
Good man. Stand.
So if you look around the group that you have,
Squat.
you've got some super wide squatters, some super narrower squatters. Like, you don't seem to have like a standard that you're going for. Like, if I had to ask you what, and then you yourself demonstrated quite a narrow stance, in my opinion. What for you is your standard that you tend to set for people?
So if I'm going to set a standard, I use the phrase about shoulder width. I give myself flexibility in there. I could be more rigid with it.
Okay.
I get where you're going with it, and like maybe I could tighten up and be more prescriptive.
Maybe. I mean, I think people have. I mean, clearly, this girl who's nearly foot to foot is very mobile and can be there. So that's not. It's not incorrect. It's just, I wonder if what to you delineates this squat is too narrow or too wide.
Can they hit the other points of performance? Like, do I get hip crease below knee? Do we maintain lumbar curve? Is foot flat on the floor? Like, if those things break down, I play with stance. If those things don't break down, maybe it works for them. Like, she is super narrow, 100%, but
she's hitting all those points.
Doing the things, right? So is it wrong?
No, that's and the argument would be no, it's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It looks a little weird. Like, I look at it and I'm like, why would you do that? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. But it's not wrong by any means. So it's just something that we always want to be examining for ourselves as coaches. Is like, what is our eye adjusted to being slightly okay? Like, in this specific spot right here, if you looked at all the people in the group, you've got the guy behind Mr. Flexi whose knees are caving. The guy doing a front squat whose knees are caving. The girl in red who's close, but she's got a really turned out foot. So I don't know. There's a couple things going on, but I don't know if it's necessarily. It's nothing that you've done up to this point in time. I was just making sure that you had a standard in your head that you were going for and things you were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, people are people, right? And there's playing around with stances and stuff. And, the girl in red on the left. I mean, for love nor money, you're not going to get her to the bottom position of a squat with her knees following her toes and her heels on the floor. So you're going to have to pick your battles there, and different day, different battle. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a valid point. I've never considered how varied that is.
Yeah. I would try to, as much as you can, just burn into your head your own standard. Like, this for me is my standard, and let people prove you wrong otherwise. Put them into your standard always. And then if that's not looking right, then you adjust, you know? So it's like you're unless you know them, like take the girl who's foot to foot, you know that's her stance and you like that stance and you're okay with it, yeah, let her get away with it because you know who she is. But everyone else be like, a little bit narrower, a little bit wider, a little bit narrower, a little bit wider, and then let them prove to you that they need to be in a different position. So that way, because people will make these weird adjustments on their own, even different than the last time they did it. Like I bet you every time that girl in red comes in, she's taking 5 different stances when she squats. You know, and she doesn't know which one's which or which one even feels better. So if you can be that tactile, like you see it and then you go, okay, a little bit narrower, a little bit wider. There you are. Just for your own sake, like I think it helps set a standard across the space. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, good job. Stand. Show me more armpit again, Mike. Beautiful. Bring the pipe over your head. It's gone behind you. Squat. Better. Stand. Play with that depth a little bit more, Donna. Keep pushing up on the pipe as we sit down. Squat. A little bit lower.
The very first one, let me go back. So they went overhead.
This is armpits down. This is armpits forward. Once we've got this shape, we're going to search for this overhead squat.
You ever do that cue where you turn people's hands backwards?
I've not done it. I've played with it personally.
So a lot of people do this like hand up thing, but I think people can manipulate it and get really weird. I think it's if you just turn their hand upside down, you have them grab it, go overhead. They're like forced into this super open position. And then you're like, great, now turn your hand around. And for some reason, it gets a big group of people just immediately being like, oh, I get it. Here it is. It's a cool thing to use. You don't need to use it. Now, here's what I'm going to hope I see, but I don't know if I do because that's why I went back. The very first rep is your opportunity to look at the whole group start and finish position, right?
Yep.
So the place that you would see that generally would be the front.
Yep.
So you're going to move to the front, which where you are, you're going to say down, and then you're going to glance around at all the bottom positions and all the grips. So you're going to be like, okay, this person's feet, this person's feet, this person's feet, this person's knees, this person's knees, this person's knees. Oh, this person's too narrow, this person's too narrow. Just because you can get this kind of macro picture of those big static faults from that front position literally on the first rep. So that way they're not doing more reps of that as you're walking around and then only seeing it as you come up and adjust. So anytime you're moving them into the full position, right back to the front, like, okay, we're going to watch one rep and then I'm going to adjust stances and grips to see if that's necessary. So like right here, you've just told them this overhead position.
Things that are happening, right? I'm going to keep those armpits forward, keep pushing up on that bar, keep pushing my knees out so we've got the same squat shape we used in that plate squat earlier. Ready? Bar goes overhead.
Good. So bar goes overhead. This guy's going to go front squat because you talked to him.
A little bit more. Matt, bring the bar
you move. You've lost the people behind you.
Yeah.
Tia, push up harder.
But you're doing a good job. So this is great because you're walking around, you're adjusting those grips because you're like, hey, I want this before we start moving. Awesome. Like that's exactly what it is. Now let's reinforce that once we get to the bottom. Same thing.
Super straight. And we're going to squat and pause. Ready? Squat.
Now here, this is your snapshot of the whole group. What are you looking around? What are you seeing? And you're on one gut person right here.
Yeah.
So if we're all paused right now, what do you see as you look around this group?
Soft elbows, armpits aren't as dialed in as I'd like them to be. As a theme generally, blue shirt, left-hand side, wider grip than he needs to be. Back left is missing armpits. Soft elbows, front left and middle left. Right-hand side, couple of wide grips. The 2 guys on the right-hand side at the back have got wider grips than they need.
Yeah. I mean, so you can see it all. It's there, and I would have picked one of those themes and just been like, all right, stand up, next one, and then like try it again and see if that adjusted things, and then be more specific with it if you needed to. You obviously saw something though in someone who was in front of you here, and that's it's not wrong to correct, but I'd say those first couple reps are your big opportunity to adjust some little things like that.
I think if I have a trait as a coach, it's to dive in on the micro quickly. And I got picked up on that 5 years ago on my level 2. Like, hey Sam, you're very quick to get in on someone. I'm like, yeah, because I don't like it, so I go and fix it. But I get sucked in.
Well, so I think then you can just use this as a thing for you. It's like that first rep, you're just fix the start and finish of everyone from one place. You know, like, because they're doing many reps and you have every right to get in and fix nuancy things for sure. But I just say the first couple reps, you just, like look around the group, and adjust stances, adjust grips. Cool. Do that one more time. Adjust stances, adjust grips. Cool. Then get in your micro place.
Yeah.
Go back to that sitting in with one person and then move around the group. So that way you don't miss any big glaring things because you too rapidly dropped into an individual. Yeah.
Laura, push your knees out.
I'm gonna go
Stand.
ahead a little bit. I want to see what happens. They start. Ooh, they got barbells.
And looking at like 4 inches to open. Squat.
4 inches to open.
Elbows higher, Dan. Stand.
The
6
guy who went
inches
all the way
this
down.
time. Squat. Yeah, good, Dan. Stand. More armpits, Mike. Parallel. Squat. Yes, better, Mike. Solid. Push up, Bonnie, hard. Stand. Below parallel. Squat. Yes, strong. Stand. Keep driving into that bar mat.
So what do you see as you look around this group right now?
Right now, what do I see? We're all going below parallels, my first, because this is my assessment for the workout, right? Like, is this overhead squat appropriate for us for the workout with a barbell, or do we want to use PVC, or do we want to change that squat option? And actually, for this room of people, like everyone's below parallel with a bar over their head by the guy in front squat. General themes. There's a couple of grips that aren't spot on. There's a couple of like super bendy people on the right hand side of the room, which is cool, but
impressive.
not important. And a few softer elbows on the left hand side than I'd like.
Yep. On the right hand side, you say?
Left hand side.
Left hand side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
Front
maybe
and
a little
wide.
wide. Yeah. 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 I like the girl who's like grimacing in this. She's the pregnant one, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Solid. She's going hard. All I would say is I mean, you saw a bunch there.
Beautiful.
It's not
Rest and relax.
like what you're trying to do with these reps, like you said, is adjust, see what's appropriate for people. Your progression here was you're going to have a shorter one and then a deeper one and then a really deep one. So we just have to be revisiting back to those basic points. So right now on their shorter one, just 6 inches down or 4 inches down or whatever it was, this is where you're looking around the group and you go, okay, you make fun of the big guy who's flexy. You make fun of the guy in blue and be like, you guys weren't paying attention, were you? All right. 4 inches. That's a huge 4 inches, like, and you sit with them, you get everybody on the same page. And then the
elbows higher, Dan. Stand. 6 inches this time. Squat.
Okay. 6 inches.
Yeah.
Good. So now in the 6 inches, why 6 inches? What were you going for in 6 inches?
Just adding in depth, like giving people a chance, a bit like to throw it back right to that warm-up thing. Like it's the first time they've had weight over their head and they're sitting in a squat, just to feel it out as we go, give us a chance to hit those points of performance. But as I'm saying this to you, I'm realizing that actually I haven't rebriefed the like, hey, your heel's still on the floor, or your knee's still following your toes thing. And that's maybe a nice opportunity for me to just re-bring in those earlier points of performance from that plate squat we did earlier.
Totally. And even here, you wouldn't necessarily even need to rebrief it. If you're going to use a progression of 4 inches, 6 inches full squat, that's your opportunity to see that start to go wrong as they go deeper. So 4 inches, you have to get the whole group in and be like, is everyone's hips going back? Or are some people pushing their knees forward like the guy in the far back right corner? Are all the grips now the right position? Are all the stances now in the right position at 4 inches? Then you say, okay, we're going to go a little deeper. Now you're like, as I increase depth, do people start to shit the bed?
Yeah.
Can I go back to those basics? Can I go to those feet? Can I go to those knees? Can I go to that stuff? So if you pause them in that 6 inch down, you're going to look around. I mean,
is to open. Squat.
This is supposed to be 4 inches. So now you're looking around here. So you look at the whole group and you're like, okay, cool. I like it. I like it so far. The only thing that looks weird for me right now is this homie in the back right, back right corner. He looks like he's just a mannequin of some sort. I don't know what's going on there, but he's like super upright and his knees are shooting forward. But all right, so
stand 6 inches this time. Squat.
Okay, 6 inches. Okay, so now while they're all holding in 6 inches, we have to look at everyone and see if this is where crap's going to hit the fan, right? So don't you stand yet. I don't think you gave yourself enough time.
No, I've made an error there. I should have left them there and worked the room harder.
Yeah. So that's your opportunity to like hold them there, because now they're all in 6 inches and you're like, okay, am I getting what I want?
Elbows higher, Dan. Stand 6 inches this time. Squat. Yeah, good done.
I think you might be getting stuck on individuals. Kind of same thing that you were doing before, like you talked about happening at your first level 2, is like getting stuck on the one that's right in front of you. But if you're using something that's progressive by nature, it gives you an opportunity to look a bit more at the whole group, especially if there's a static component. And that's kind of what we've revisited back on a couple times. If there's a static piece, let's get the whole group involved. Let's get your eye on everyone. So like you can go here and be like, okay, as you go down, this guy in blues, he's starting to smile really big. So clearly he's he's getting excited right now. He's like, I really can't wait to go all the way down. The girl in red, if you would have given her the opportunity, you kind of would have seen that that's about where she starts to buckle, is about 6 inches. So you might have been like, okay, Sharon, or whatever her name is, that's your depth. Stay right there.
Stand below parallel.
And then even on that full one that you went all the way down to parallel, that's your opportunity to look at everyone again and be like, oh, who's breaking? Stop here. If it's that person.
Squat. Yes, strong. Stand. Keep driving into that bar.
And then that final one was your kind of check of the whole group. Is everyone where they need to be going?
Rest and relax, right? Overhead squat.
So I think the theme is like, again, you've got a good eye. You see people, you do great one-on-one coaching. Your cueing's on point. Your group management is on point. The only group management things I would add are like during your initial movements of a new progression or of grabbing a bar or of a new movement, you should take glances at the very basic things across the entire group. And this is, I feel like a broken record because I think I say this to a lot of people. It's like just stance and grip are your easiest things to adjust, and they carry some of the most profound impact across the rest of the movement. So if you just unclip your eye from the individual and take that extra beat to look at the whole group, I think you'll see a lot more in those stance and grip pieces. And then you can get around and do those dynamic pieces that you've been doing of like catching someone moving a little, midway through and having that one-on-one. But just take that first couple reps of each thing that you're doing to get what you want from those positions, those shapes that you keep saying. Like, let's get those shapes. Let's see those shapes. And then you need to internalize across the group. Am I getting the shapes that I want? And then move on from there. And that would be my biggest thing for you, like general theme wise, like that would be the thing that I see pop up in all of these places. And you can start that early on in the session. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 100%. It's a bit like, so I doing some coach development work with my own staff, like getting them to do enough reps so you get opportunities to see the thing. But actually I've got a couple of reps there at the start of each of these progressions that I'm effectively wasting, because they're easy reps to fix a huge number of people, and actually I dial in too quickly on one person's thing, right? So it could just be more productive with the reps that I'm using, because it's not like I'm shy to give them reps, right? I like, they work for it. I'm not afraid to leave them on a barbell, but I can be more effective on those first 2-3 reps.
And that's it. And like, honestly, like that's, if you start doing it, you'll see how much more shit you can see. And then those other reps are that much more impactful. Because those things that you're finding yourself having to fix down the road would have been fixed in the first couple reps, stance and grip wise. And then you haven't wasted a few on them. But it's exactly what you're saying. It's like the opposite, like somebody who gives not enough reps. That's not what you are. Like you give plenty of reps, but let's make the first couple that much more impactful just to get those basics. And then you can use the rest of the reps to refine. And I think you give the right amount of reps. I don't think you give too many reps. I think you give the right amount. It's just use those first few to get what you want from the basic shapes. I'm just going to use your word, the basic shapes across the entire group, not an individual, and then use the rest of the reps.
There's a fun story on the word shapes. One of my coaches is a former international gymnast and now full-time gymnastics coach when he's not working for us. And when he's doing all his gymnastics stuff, everything he talks about is the shape. Like this shape, that shape, whatever shape, it's all your own body, right? And it's just vernacular that's snuck into my coaching kind of language because it's so applicable. Like, you want this shape. I'm going to use it. I like it, Tim. I'm going to steal your words. Thanks, man.
I think it's very, it gives a sense of life to positions.
Yeah, it
I
does.
think shapes is more alliterative. It feels better. I get it. Like I think shapes are wonderful. Almost makes it childish sometimes though.
Yeah, it does, and it's fun. We have a good time with it.
We like it. All in all though, man, I really like how you deliver things. It's clear that, like, just like you said, you know your strengths. You know your strengths in communication. You know that you're very clear and you're very easy to understand. Everything you say is, I haven't heard you say something incorrect. I haven't heard, like, the only things that I would adjust with your overall demeanor are use those first reps to see the broader group and get what you want before you let them start moving. And then use your already existing skills to then, once they start moving, do everything that you're currently doing. It's just those foundational reps for each section that you're working through. Get the shapes that you want.
Yeah. It's like having a wet cloth and not taking advantage of the first couple of big squeezes and instead working your way down from end to end, right? Like I could just do this once and get most of the water out, instead of there's me moving my way.
There you are. There it is. That was an OnlyFans video, I believe, that we just posted.
Between that and you guys talking about 4 inches and 6 inches earlier, I'm just gonna chop and clip all these things up. And that's what
he had a line earlier. He had a line earlier talking about getting on top of her a little sooner, and I was like, I can't comment on that.
It's gonna be the promo for this YouTube video here.
I don't want to give you more. Like, I don't want you to be overwhelmed.
I don't need more.
Right, because it's clear that you're doing many of the strong intangibles. And as long as just like when you stepped into the new gym of people you didn't know, I almost think you would do this naturally to some degree because you didn't know what you were going to get.
Yeah.
Like, picture that, because this group, you know how they move, right? So when you get into a group of new people, you don't know how they move. So you can't say, everyone get to your squat stance and give me 10 squats. You have to say, everyone get to your squat stance, and then look at all their squat stances and be like, what the fuck are these people teaching you? So it's like, I would almost take the next couple classes you then have at your own space to be like, pretend I know how none of these people move. What would I do? Because that'll just set you up for success with regards to
be fair, I think you might be onto something there, because I coached yesterday morning at a gym that wasn't mine. And I had this moment of, you're going to stick this here and hold this shape. And I had that moment of, what the fuck is going on here? How quickly can I undo? I don't know how long you guys have been coming to this place, but how quickly can I change that into something that I can use? So it might happen more naturally, but I think it needs to be just somewhere in my brain. Hey, Sam, it's your first 2 reps. Get on top of the whole room.
Yep. And I think that's one of the biggest values of coaching at other gyms. You realize that some of the stuff you're saying is only applicable to the people that you've built a relationship and a foundation with. And going to other gyms is truly eye-opening to you as a coach to be like, I'm not as funny as I thought, or I'm not as good as I thought, which ends up being significantly different.
For sure. Superb. Thank you.
Sam, before we get off here, for anybody that's watching who's going to go for their level 4, I mean, like you've really crammed some things in the last 4 weeks, basically, right? So you've really tried to use all the tools and all the resources at your disposal to be prepared for this thing. What would you say is like, hey, you've got to do this. It's super beneficial. If you plan on doing this thing, this is what I would recommend.
I take it back to your level 3 exam, which is ultimately knowing that level 1 manual inside out, back to front, right? Can you deliver that? Not this weird made up version that looks a bit like the thing that was in the L1 manual, but can you deliver that? Can you nail your points of performance, progressions, and make it happen day in, day out at your affiliate? Once you're doing that, can you take it on the road to get feedback? If you don't have someone in your own facility that can give you great feedback, which is one thing, but also getting feedback from someone else's facility. And maybe that means just videoing it and watching it back yourself. But I think there are 3 things there really, like, do CrossFit, not some weird version of it in your own affiliate. Get feedback in your own affiliate from someone who you think knows enough to give you feedback. and then take it on the road and film it and get feedback from someone you trust if you need to, or get one of their staff to watch you. But I've learned an awful lot from getting my staff to tear my classes down, and then also from going to other gyms and being handed a group of people I don't know, and you suddenly realize you've got 5 minutes to get buy-in from these people because they think that you're making it up as you go along when you arrive. So those are my well, I walk into a room, right? I'm like, hi, I'm Sam. I'm prepping for this big test thing for CrossFit. I'm going to take your class today. I probably know what I'm talking about, but we'll see, right? And I'm like, stick your feet in this position. And they all look at me like, that's not the shape I normally do this in. And you're like, trust me, I'm going to get you there. So yeah, those are my 3 things. And I think that's you've got to do all the boring stuff. Like, you've got to plan your classes. You've got to know your progressions. You've got to know your movement standards, blah, 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 blah. All the nuts and bolts to make a great class. And if you're not doing that, you're probably not looking at level 4 anyway. Once you've got those nuts and bolts tied away at your own affiliate, get feedback your own affiliate, get feedback from somewhere else.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
But get on the road.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool.
This has been super helpful. Thanks so much.
Sam, man, I really appreciate you coming on. Pat, thanks for breaking it down for Sam here. Sam, good luck 1 week from now, right?
Yeah, week today.
Do you know who your administrators are?
Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to know, but I believe that Nicole Christensen's coming over and Carl Stedman's doing it, and there should be a third person, but I don't know who yet. This is all grapevine information. So
okay, so those two are some amazing humans, and like Nicole Christensen and Carl Stedman are 2 of my favorite humans on the planet, and like, talk to them as much as you can. Soak up every little bit of conversation you can get with them because they're fucking smart, man. So they want you to do well. They're not going to show up and be like, I want him to suck. They want you to do well. So
no, like in fairness to Carl, he's UK country manager for CrossFit. Like, he runs a study group every Wednesday. He's dug time out of his schedule. He's come down to my affiliate. He's spoken to me on Zoom. Like,
cool.
The dude is an amazing human, but he's got some good squidgy stuff going on between his ears. So yeah, he's a great dude.
Unassuming too. Like you just just talk to him, you're like, no, and then you like start to dig and you're like, oh shit, I am out of my league.
So I ran an affiliate gathering at my affiliate. So all the affiliates in the southeast of England, I like invited them into my gym for the day. Like, bring your members, bring your coaches, bring everyone, let's get involved. Carl, do you want to come down and do the What is CrossFit lecture or a version of from the level 1 stuff, like try and explain some of the stuff that I try and sneak into the end of my classes. And he arrived super early. We watched some of the end of our Saturday morning classes, and some of my members were chatting to this dude. And it's only when Stedman stood up at the front with the whiteboard, they were like, oh, he's the guy. Yeah, he's the guy. You don't even understand how much he is the guy. He is the guy.
Yeah, man. I got fortunate enough to go stay at his house for a few days while I was visiting out there, and got to hang with him for a while. And his family is just amazing too. And he was out in the countryside, and it's just awesome peeps. Yeah,
great people. Big fan.
Cool. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks here.
So
Sam, again, appreciate it. And I'd love to hear, shoot us an email. Let us know how things go, man.
Hey, Pat. Cody, before we sign off, you want to go ahead and let us know this special that our biggest sponsor is going on?
So if you didn't know, we really are fans of ourselves. And so we sponsor ourselves, right?
Sounds straight out of Jason's mouth.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a script right here that he wrote for me, right? It basically just says, talk about Ackerman and make sure that you promote Best Hour. So we've got a really cool promo going on between now and the CrossFit Games. And that is for any affiliate owner that enrolls in Affiliate University. We are sponsoring a coaching credential, right? Admission to a coaching credential. It's up to you whether or not you earn it. But we are, we're paying the ticket for you to go, have the seminar, take the course, take the test. And that is up to the affiliate owner if they want to use it for themselves or pass it along to somebody that's deserving on their team. But that is a limited time offer. It's going on between now and the CrossFit Games. So if you're interested in that, we launched it like 3 or 4 days ago, and it's just like the schedule has just been completely blown up with people who are like, hey, I need to know more about this Affiliate University thing, what it is, and how I can take advantage of the offer that's going on right now. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check out Affiliate University. You can go to besthouroftheirday.com/ Affiliate University and book your call there so you can, figure out what's, if it's going to be a good fit for you and take advantage of the offer. Cool. Awesome.
Very cool.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys later. And I think nothing going on Friday, but we'll kick things back off on Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. See you guys.
Cool.